This is Riya Wang from San Jose, California. We are live. So today's podcast, I would like to introduce a little bit about me before some people, maybe it's first time here. I have to put my glass on in case I cannot read. I'm so excited. I'm so excited and also so grateful. So every Tuesday come to this show to share all of the wisdom of the healing. So with my guys. So in the past 3 years, I have been travel around the world to learn and share, discover the healing, how healing can transform our lives. I was so blessed, had a lot of chance to
I'm not sure if Riya is frozen or if I'm frozen. Riya, are you there? Oh, let's see. Let me wait a minute. There we go. I didn't know if you were frozen or I was frozen. And so I was like, I waited a minute and then I was like, let me start talking. Excellent. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. There we go.
All right, here again, my connection just shut down for a few seconds.
That's
We just
okay.
talk about before come to this show, say sometimes the internet is not stable. When I was talking, then middle of the time, then suddenly this is gone. So my guest said, "Are you still here?" I'm still here. So it's Riya Wang. I'm the owner of Zenquency Art of Healing. In the Zenquency Art of Healing, I will share all of my 20 years of my healing journey with all the sound healing, meditation, all different type platform of healing. I have clients always ask me, how is your healing methods work? I always say the healing method is work or not. It's not how it's work, it's how you want to be, desire to be healed. So I give you the wisdom, give you the skill, but the main thing is important. You have to practice every day. The healing is the journey, it's not destination. Each day we are living and we need to be more aware what is life we want, what we are treat the people around us, how we treat ourselves, how we hard to feel. That is the healing. Also sharing is the healing. Today, I'm so happy and so excited. I have my guest, so I have to careful to pronounce his name, Regyna, right? Did I correct? So
yes,
Regyna is art of education. Let me look at Regyna here. Oh, Regyna is a soul wisdom mentor, speaker, and also she used his experience as well travel soul wisdom, explore and support each regional who's seeking the healing. So I will let her to introduce more detail about what she do. Regyna, thank you to come here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. I know we've been connected for a while, and this is the first time we're really getting to kind of dive deep into a conversation. So I'm super excited to be here. I really appreciate the space that you hold and your explanation of what healing is, because it's really very similar to the way that I see it as well. And the words that you said, the journey is the healing, is really a really beautiful way to put that. So thank you for opening with that. To talk a little bit about, what I do, what is a soul wisdom mentor? What does soul wisdom mean? And, sometimes people will say to me, oh, I feel that, right? Like I really feel a resonance with those words, but I don't really know what you mean. And So I have a definition for it, but what I would say to that is like, if when I say the word soul wisdom, if you really feel those words and think like, yeah, there's something there, that's all that's really needed with it, right? Our brains sometimes want to give things labels or words, but it's also okay to just feel that in our bodies as well and know it in a different way. So I define soul wisdom as our authentic ways of knowing or receiving information and being, or how we express ourselves. And so what a soul wisdom mentor does is I hold a space for you while you take that journey, and I come into that journey and travel with you and explore and help you interpret the language that comes through, the wisdom that comes through, help provide tools and resources. And one of the tools that I use, one of my ways of knowing and also expressing myself, is through soul guided artwork. And so it's channeled artwork that I really tune into the wisdom of my soul. And I use that artwork both in the work that I do with my clients and also as a tool for myself. So I can share some of that work with you. I mean, there's some around me, but I can also share more about that process and like how I use that in the healing that I do with people as well. So it's a basic introduction, but I know we'll dive more into it as we go into the conversation.
That's beautiful. Thank you. That
Yeah.
is always so the whole point of doing this show is all of the healer come to this show. We're not just talk about the information. And also we really showing, give some real tips for people who can really apply to their daily life
Yeah.
that they can use to benefit with them. Yesterday, I was just talk with my another friends of the healer. Then we was discovered so much information in the computer in everywhere now because this is information world. But sometimes over, or we said too much information can be overwhelming. So everybody know, like we said, I'm the meditation. We are both this healer, meditation teacher. Then we are people always say, yeah, I know meditation is helping me, but I couldn't sit there for 5 minutes. I couldn't meditate. So meditation is just for sitting, but it's not. Like meditation
Right.
has so many ways. Even
Yeah.
it's all brings awareness within you. So even you walking, even you sit there, do nothing, just sit there for quiet few minutes with
Yeah.
yourself. It's all about the recent awareness, right?
I love that because so many times I've had so many people say that to me too, like, oh yeah, I know, I've read all about it, I've heard about it, I understand it, I totally agree that meditation would be very beneficial, but I just can't sit still that long, or I just can't stay quiet my mind, or I'm still thinking. Well, of course you're still thinking. Your brain is thinking even when you're asleep. That is the function of your brain, is to think. So you're not going to not think while you're doing this activity. The goal, though, is to be able to exist in a peaceful state while that thinking is also still happening, right? So not attaching to every single thought and really exploring every single thought. So I trained as a, I'm trained as a Reiki master, and that's one of the parts of my journey. And one of the teachers that I learned from, he had a really beautiful way of explaining meditation. And he said, it's kind of like you open the front door of your house. Like if your mind is like a house, right? And you're in your house and you open the front door and you open the back door. And as the thoughts come through, you let them pass through. You just don't invite them to have tea. And I loved
I
that
love that
explanation.
part. Don't
Yeah,
invite them to have tea. Don't get a
right. It's like,
conversation with them.
yeah, don't sit and have a conversation with it, right? Like, don't get caught up in a story, in a conversation, in, trying to find the meaning in it. Just like let it pass through. And we are not really accustomed to doing that most of the time in our lives because, like, okay, so most of us probably at some point get onto some kind of social media site and we scroll through, right? And what are you looking for? You're looking for something that really like grabs your interest. Maybe it's, oh, that's a friend. I know this person, right? Or maybe it's like, what is going on there? That looks crazy. Like, I need to learn more, right? And it's the same thing, but it's like instead of stopping on those stories, right, you just kind of let it flow through and you just like keep going. And so the idea of doing something that is a walk or even dancing or even cooking, honestly, like I find cooking to be really meditative. Like, there's a rhythm. I eat mostly vegetarian, so it's like when I'm chopping vegetables, there's this like chop, 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 right, that's happening. And I really kind of love that space and have found a lot of peace in that. And even then being really present with the vibrant colors of the vegetables. And if you've ever, been around me while I cook, if you look, I like put things in little kind of neat little piles, or even sometimes I'll stop and take a picture of my chopped vegetables because I think they're really beautiful. And that's mindfulness, right? So now I've got meditation and mindfulness and, healthy eating, all of those things happening in my daily life. And I think that's really what the goal is, right?
Absolutely. I love that. I love you said that the chopping, 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 the rhythm. Absolutely. I love cooking too. So I'm also is Deepa Chopra's the Ayurveda introduction. So I do Ayurveda eating,
Nice.
mindfulness. The colors we talk about the food have 7
Mhm.
colors. So each
Mhm.
day you eat all of these beautiful things. I
Mhm.
think it's a lot of time because, so like you said, the society and the social media, all of the things around us. And now is the speed, the time, people, everything, like information just speeding.
Boom, boom,
Sometimes
boom,
it
boom.
can
Mhm.
be overwhelming. We mind is can get cut off that. The big sense is like we said, is aware
Mhm.
what happening. So the meditation is just raising your awareness to create the space. Lets your brain is have that sleep in that silent space. You can more aware what you've been doing. Then you
Yeah.
be observe. It's not going to everything have to be
Right.
about yourself. Have to be to cut off with that. We always say when your emotionally go up, your wisdom go down. So
Mm.
that's why when we are be aware, so we don't get involved with every little sense.
Yeah.
When you're cooking, you can become enjoy. Say, chopping is the music. You cannot be, oh my gosh, I needed to chopping quick. That would be overwhelming with it. So when you go into that state, if you become regular as a meditator, I think that's what I do every day. I wake up, I do meditation, then go through to see what in my daily what's going on,
Mhm.
and before I sleep to start meditating and to close
Bring it back
something, let
in.
my
Mhm.
body, get a rhythm of the rest. So that is raising more awareness, then everything will be changed around your life.
Yeah, and the word practice, I think, is so important in this, right? Because, um, just last night I was having a conversation with a group that I run, and we were talking about practice. So I call it devotional practice rather than a daily practice, because I found for myself personally that when I refer to my practices as daily practice, I need to do them daily or I feel like I'm failing, right? And sometimes it doesn't happen, right? Like most of the time, yes, I meditate. And most of the time, yes, I have a creative practice I do. And I definitely spend time each morning doing something, but I would get in this kind of self-sabotage cycle of thinking, oh, well, I didn't do it enough, or I didn't do it for, this many days in a row, or I skipped a day because I was just exhausted, or, like whatever the reason. And so I switched the wording that I was using to devotional practice. And really, that helped me see that I was coming into this practice as, first of all, a practice, right? We don't start a practice because we're already an expert in something. If we are an expert in something, we may still practice because we can always improve. And maybe we really enjoy that space and we benefit it, or benefit from it. But oftentimes when we're just beginning a new practice, we go into the practice because we think, oh, I want to improve this, or I want to get better at, or I just want to, learn how to be more in the flow in this, right? It's not always about, I think sometimes the word better puts us automatically in a place of judgment, right? But I want to get more in sync with this. I want to get more in flow with this. I want to bring more of this into my life, right? And then, so we create this learning environment for ourselves to walk into by creating this practice. And this is the place we're going to show up to do this practice, to do this work, to explore and learn and grow, right? And then we go into it and we automatically bring out the judgment and the inner critic, and we start thinking, oh, I'm not very good at this, right? When did we get this idea that as adults, we're automatically good at everything, right? That's not true. It's not true at all. And you go into a practice to learn and grow. So then you get in there and you have this, this thought of like, oh, well, I'm not good at this. I might as well, this isn't for me. Right. And so we either duck out of it because we're like, oh, I can't do this. There's no sense in it. Right. Or we get angry at it. We're like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I don't even want to do this in the first place. I don't even know why I thought this was a good idea. Obviously, it's not, right? And that really kind of takes us out of the energy that is what we really were seeking in the first place. So it's all about, really being present and allowing yourself to show up and actually practice and to be imperfect, be perfectly imperfect, right?
Yes, absolutely. Be imperfect the perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, self-criticizing is, I think, is everybody have that part. Is that what I mean? The awareness. We just to
Mhm.
be aware. Don't cut off what everything have to be. Routine is always is great to move forward, but sometimes, like we said, everything is energy. Everything is yin and yang. You sometimes you're very happy, sometimes you may be feeling a little down. That's okay.
Yeah.
Acceptance. So acceptance, and on that part, when you accept the things about around you, so you will be not criticize yourself.
Yeah.
So we can talk on this subject on and on forever, I
Yes,
guess.
we can.
But here we come back again with our transformation healing. I
Yeah.
would like you to share your wonderful tips with the people. What
Mm.
it is, like you said. So you will be doing some, would you okay to doing, showing us or lead a little bit meditating or doing some work you've been
Yeah.
like an example, if I'm the one don't know how to meditate it, I'm just yesterday I have something cut off with my coworker. They are
Uh-huh.
tell me something really things I didn't done, but it's just let me feel so angry.
Yeah.
If that situation, what I can do. So that
Mm.
if someone may be here or someone may be very sad. So all of this unpleasant
Yeah.
emotion. I always have to careful talk about, not say have to careful. As I'm study, I'm now use a lot of words, not say a negative emotion. I will be say unpleasant emotion.
Unpresent
That
emotion.
I
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
unpleasant.
good, yeah, it's a good way to reframe that, because by saying that something is a negative emotion, right, then we are basically labeling it as bad. And we're saying that if something is bad, we don't want that. We don't want its presence in our lives. And that's where we become unpresent with it, right? Because every one of the emotions or of the experiences that we have. And I think this oftentimes gets labeled in this category of toxic positivity, right? Like, oh, just be positive and know that everything that happens in your life happens for a reason. Well, it does. That doesn't mean that you actively wanted that thing to come into your life or that you asked for it in some way, right? Like, but there is something that can be learned from it. There is a way that you can grow, and there's a way that you can be more present in it, right? And so, excuse me, emotions actually only have a lifespan in their true essence of about a minute. And one of the things that I really like to share with people is, and this can be done, I've worked with kids a lot. And so this is something that kids can do, you can do with your own kids. I think it's a more kind of evolved version of the timeout that I experienced as, as kids, and maybe, like as it's probably actually a little bit older, that kids that are younger than me. But I mean, yeah, my parents, it was a little bit different generation, so there might have been some other things in there too, other than timeout. But even thinking of like grounding, like anybody who's in their 40s or older probably remembers this word, like, oh, you're grounded, right? And it's, what are all of those things doing? They're all giving you an opportunity to pause, interrupt the activity that was happening, or the behavior or the thought pattern, right? Take a step away from it and reset. And those ways that were done, that it was done previously, were not perfect, right? As we said. And so there may have been some really great intent in doing those things, but there also might have been some consequences of that, or some thought patterns that came in that, trained us to believe that in some way we were inherently bad, or that this particular thing equals I am bad. And we are not bad, but the thing that we're doing may not really be benefiting us. And so I love that reframe of being unpresent, right, with something rather than negative, because yes, there are some things that can hurt us, right? Like if your child is headed towards, toddling towards a hot stove and they're about to, touch it, you may need to step in and go, no, like you may need to grab them away. And that can be really scary. And they may think, I did something wrong, or I did something bad. But really what you're doing, again, is interrupt, right? Remove and reset. And if you can address that resetting and understand that it's not, you weren't doing something bad, but the direction you were headed in was about to hurt you, right? That's where that idea of like a negative feeling, because when we have those feelings, if we allow it to teach us something, it's not necessarily negative, right? If we can sit with it, receive it, and then release it, right? But if we sit with it, understand it's there, and then we get in a really long conversation with it, it's no longer allowing us to keep moving on. Just like inviting your thoughts in and having them for tea, you also don't want to necessarily invite in all of your emotions and have them for tea either, right? Because if you think about your breath, we breathe in, we inhale, and we exhale, right? When we breathe in, we're breathing in basically what the trees and the plants are providing to us. And when we breathe out, we're giving back what the trees and the plants and other species need. But if we breathe in, right, and we're getting these beautiful nutrients, and we're getting all this stuff that we need in our bodies to fuel us and help us stay alive and vital, and all these things, and then we just hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it in our bodies, first of all, we'll probably pass out, because that's our body's response to say, this is not actually what you need, right? It's like that mom coming in and grabbing you from the stove. Your body kicks in and says, you're going to pass out now because you're doing something that's not serving you. So I'm going to step in and override. But also we would begin to, just hold in the very thing that we actually need to release. And that's what it means to be toxic, right? So when we experience an emotion, and then we sit down for tea with it, and we continue to have this conversation over and 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 over, right? It becomes toxic. And that's how we get stuck in that identity. And we start to say things like, instead of I feel angry, we say I am angry. And now we're putting a label on ourselves that says, I am an angry person, right? This is my state of being. This is my natural state of being. Now, logically, we think that's crazy. I don't actually think that, right? But our subconscious mind doesn't understand that, because it hears, I am angry. And then it gets on this track that just runs around in your brain all day and all night. And it continues to create this groove that's like, oh, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry, right? And that becomes part of your identity. And so anyway, this is a whole long way of coming back to the answer of the question that you asked, but I think it's really you know, what is something that you can do in those moments, you know, for all the reasons that I just said. Break the pattern, break the, you know, break it, whatever it is. If it's, you know, I recognize, and that's the awareness. You are aware that something has come into your existence, right? It has entered into your house, your brain house, your emotional house, your physical house, right? You say, oh, I recognize it, I'm aware of it. I'm going to allow this to keep going, right? So just as you can allow for someone to walk into your house or a thought to walk into your house, you can acknowledge that they're there and show them the way out, or you can sit down for tea and have the same conversation until it becomes toxic. So, you know, think about that and how can you break that and release it so that you can continue moving on.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, is it possible so you can lead a few minutes meditation, or maybe you can do whatever you can help show the process of the work. Like we said at the beginning, so we're not just information, we really
Yeah.
do it. So that then people can get a sample, so then they can start. So we have more than 5 to 10 minutes. So what
Yeah,
at the time. So let's
absolutely.
tone it in. So we know I love, no matter how much meditation I do, every 5 to 10 minutes I get, I will be feel, oh, my body feel, oh, that is yummy. I want to be that space.
Yeah. So I have two options for you. Okay. So
Okay.
one is that I shared that I actually do channeled artwork. And
Mm.
so I brought a couple of them and I can actually so the way that my artwork works, so this is what they look like. There's
Oh,
different
that's
ones.
beautiful. Yeah, let's do that. I guess meditation, everybody is general knows, but this is new. That's
Okay.
what I'm more excited. So please share that with
Yeah,
us.
excellent. So I'm going to give you three options.
Oh, I was
And
at two. Now you give me three options now.
yeah, I don't know why this one wanted to come through too. So there's 1,
Mm,
2,
okay.
or 3.
All right. I choose this one.
This one.
Yes.
Okay. So the way that this works and what I'm going to do is similar to like a meditation. What you can do is I'll walk you into a kind of receptive state, which is a similar state that I receive these messages. So
Mhm.
I receive through the artwork, and I'm going to hold this up while I am explaining this so that you can see it. And then I'll walk you into that meditative state. And then I will actually read the message that comes through. So this is on the back. A message comes through with each artwork. And after I do this, we can talk about, you know, how I use this with the clients that I work with. But I want you to experience it first. So
Oh,
you've
that's
kind of
beautiful.
gotten the message. So this is the image. Just give you a
Okay.
second with that. Okay. And then I'm just going to read it to you, and so you can experience how these messages come through. So as I read it to you, though, just take a moment to get comfortable in your body
Okay.
and allow yourself to wiggle. You know, sometimes I think we have to get super still really fast, but allow yourself to wiggle, allow any energy that wants to move through your body. And even when you are sitting in meditation, you know, sometimes movement wants to come through. I've had experiences where I get up and dance because that's what needs to come through. So allow your body to move how it needs to. And then I do like to close my eyes. And you can also focus on something and kind of soften your gaze. The reason I like to close my eyes is because it gives a message to my brain that we're going somewhere internally. We're going to go into an energetic space and receive in a place that is on all levels. So we may see things, we may feel things, we may hear things. And that is a response that is really opened up to be more receptive by your body when your eyes are closed, because that is a way that your body knows, okay, we're going into this space, much like when you dream. So bring your awareness to your breath. Allow yourself to breathe in and out. just observe what your breath is doing and know that wherever it's sitting in your body, however it's moving through your body, that's absolutely exactly what your body needs right now. There's no need to change it. It may change on its own as you bring awareness and you bring your energy into your body. So allow yourself to feel the energy in your body. Tune into your heartbeat. Tune into your physical body. And allow yourself to receive this message with an open mind, an open heart, an open soul. Show up in wildly authentic ways. Take intentional action and be devoted fully to taking care of yourself in the way that you care for others. Release expectations from others around holding them responsible for giving you the type of love that you desire in the forms that you need it in. Make that happen for yourself. This is not desperate or sad. This is empowered and loving. This educates everyone else on how you not only desire, but deserve and actually need to be loved. If you are not willing to do these things for yourself, how would anyone else even know that you need them? While we all have the capacity to tap into the needs of others and read context clues, we are generally too busy distracting ourselves from the voice of our soul wisdom, because the very first priority will most likely be focused on what our own needs are. As we begin receiving this information, our harshest critics and the voice of our inner judge comes rushing in as if on cue. They actually play an important role to help bring the light all the way. Sorry, that was weird. They actually help play an important role to help bring light into all the ways we are not loving ourselves in radically truthful and compassionate ways, so that we can release those behaviors and thought patterns and call in new ones that serve us properly. However, we often get so freaked out by seeing these that we quickly retreat and run to go distract ourselves with loving someone else properly. There are two issues here. One, they likely need to be loved in a very different way than you do. Yet you may never know what that way is because they are also afraid to explore this and busy distracting themselves in other ways. Look to how they love you and you'll know what it is that they really need. And two, by ignoring and judging these behaviors and thought patterns, we actually encourage them to scream louder, which only attracts more of this energy into our own lives. We continue on unconsciously engaging in them and actually attract more people into our lives that reflect this to us externally in the form of not loving us in the way we truly need. This makes us lean in harder to attempting to achieve love by loving others, and we become entangled in an ongoing repetitive cycle of self-sabotage. If we want radical change, take radical action. The most radical action you can take is to genuinely love yourself with all the ways that your body, your soul, and your mind truly need. So
Really interesting. So I want to say, because that is true, because when I was younger, so that's why I teaching self-healing. Self-healing is you have to be knowing what is self-love. So
yeah.
the love, so one of my clients always ask me, say, Riya, you say you falling in love with yourself. What is that feel? What does that mean?
Yeah.
I always say, falling in love with yourself, that means each day you wake up, it's no longer to looking for someone to fulfilling your happiness. because you already have that within you. So,
Mhm.
but that is always have to be come back from how do you start self-sabotage. You then start go through the self-healing. You're
Yeah.
learning how to love yourself, taking care of yourself. Then when you have all of that love within you, then you can spread that love, then you can take care of other people
Yeah.
instead upside way, right? So
Yeah.
that
And
is really interesting
oh, good.
platform. That's what I was said.
Yeah, thank you. It's really interesting because so, you know, like how did I get that from this? Um it really, you know, it comes through, I go into this meditative state and I receive and I observe. So just like when I brought us into our bodies and talked about receiving from your breath, right? And observing it and allowing it to just be, this is a meditation for me. And so this is also a technique that I teach others of how to use intuitive artwork as a meditation technique and a way to receive messages from your soul wisdom. I also provide these messages both collectively and also for individuals. So in my soul wisdom fluency group, I actually each season I do work with each person to set an intention for the self-healing that they're doing. So just like in the beginning, you said you have to choose, right? You choose what it is that you want to heal. And so we speak that intention, right? And then we use creativity to help give, I call it a compass, so a soul wisdom compass. And so it helps you, no matter what direction you walk in, it helps guide you and help you learn, you know, like what direction am I walking in? If I go this way, how can it help me there? If I go this way, how can it help me there? So it's a reflection tool, self-reflection. And then we really, you know, work with what is your soul wisdom language? How does that wisdom come through? And what do those messages look like? How do they feel in your body? How do you express them? How do you know, right? How do you know when something really is a yes or really is a no, you know? And so that knowing what that looks like, and even sometimes the things that we resist or the things that we that are a no, or the things that don't resonate, right? Those are just as important as the things that do, because if we didn't know what a no is, then everything would be a yes, right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think
Mhm.
we saw always give us so many different sense. Use art, use
Mhm.
music, use all, even walking, writing, all different things. When you're aware, when you really pay attention to looking, to connect, that you will be find out. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
That was really beautiful. Thank
Thank
you
you.
today. I help all of the people come here who's listening, who's watching this. You will be got that tips and to use that to aware how to apply in your life.
Mhm.
And if you like to learn more, then please to contact with Regina, and we will be have her information post on these videos. And
Beautiful.
in the line, you can contact with her. So Regina, again, what is the best way to reach out to you and where you are? I forgot to ask you where you are. You know, people come to this show, they from all over
All
the.
over the place. Yeah.
Sometimes I was talking with one of my guests, and she said, I'm in Ireland. I said, oh my gosh, you're Ireland. I said, thank you. I'm so grateful. Now probably it's made of the night, of the time. But I see your time is still daytime.
Yes, it is still
So far
daytime.
away from
I'm
me.
in Chicago, so I'm in the US. I'm in Chicago. And actually, I work with people all over the world as well. So I do the work that I do it virtually. And I actually have done it virtually even before COVID. At that time, I also did some in-person workshops and occasionally do, but a lot of the work that I do one-on-one and with groups is a virtual space so that you can tune in from anywhere and kind of, you know, go at the pace that you need to go and at the time that you need to do it. So the best way to learn about me is my website. The name of my company, actually, I should share this if we have time quickly for me to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. It's at Maitri, and it's actually a combination of two Sanskrit words. So yoga has been a part of my journey, and in that I also really love languages. So I'm an expert in interpreting soul wisdom language, and I got that way by exploring lots of different languages, both physical, energetic, actual languages that you speak. And so words and language has always been something that I've really been interested in. So Sanskrit has many words that can be interpreted a lot of different ways. And I love that. A lot of languages do have that. So the word Atman, which means soul or self, and the word Maitri, which means benevolence or kindness. So I put those together to mean kindness towards yourself. And that really is what I do. Thank you. I help you find kindness towards yourself, towards your ways of knowing and being. And I do that through the knowledge and wisdom and experience that I have gained along my own journey to do exactly the same thing. So it's spelled Atmaitri, and the link will be in the video, but it's at maitri.com is my website. I'm also at Maitri on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, new on TikTok. I am there, but I'm not super great there yet, but I do have some things on there. Instagram is probably my favorite platform. So I would love to connect with you and work with you. So, and Etsy. I also I have these available as well on Etsy. So if you are interested in doing one of those soul wisdom compasses, even if you're not in my program, I do offer that for people through my Etsy shop.
Thank you for sharing. So I
Yes.
have all of the people, if you're interested in that, so you know where to find Regyna. And thank you for coming to this show.
Thank
It's so
you.
blessed to have you to share with all we guests, all the people who's listening. So if you are listening, also if you have your healing stories, would like to share with all another the world, so please contact me. So I always looking for the guest speaker on my show, and to share your wisdom, share your healing journey, then give the tips for the people to help other people make better life.